Good morning. Find a comfortable seat. Take a deep breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Procrastination. Let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination is part of the struggle when it comes to getting through our hard. So there are some steps that we can take, and we've talked about a few of those. And as you work through this, today I'm going to talk about one that you can take. So take a comfortable seat and let's get started. Because we are what we repeatedly do. And excellence then is not an act, it is a habit. Scheduling your task, whatever that is, when it comes to your hard, because remember, we don't tackle the hard all at once. We take small steps one day at a time. Small steps will lead us to accomplishing and achieving and breaking through the barrier of the hard. So scheduling a simple task for 5 minutes is one of the simplest strategies to start working on a task right away. When you're avoiding doing the simple act of committing to 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of intentional work, moves your energy forward. The time is short enough to direct your attention towards getting something done, no matter what your hard is. So if your hard is your sugar habit, something intentional. So focusing on making a healthy alternative. 5 minutes in that direction. Whatever your heart is, if your heart is working out, that's where your energy goes. You build momentum and break the resistance by time blocking the event. This is a clearly defined time block when you work on a specific goal towards your hard. Your time block is specifically targeting one action task. Time blocking is a very results-oriented way of viewing and using time. It's a way of making sure that what has to be done gets done. In essence, the hard that you chose, what has to be done gets done. The goal with this strategy isn't to finish your difficult, hard task all at once. It is to overcome the biggest hurdle of doing anything. It's starting it. That's where we struggle, is to start. Where do we start? We start by doing one simple task. Like I talked about last week when I popped on here live, simple, not so simple. It was taking the step forward to go to church. That was my task. Everything that you and I have always avoided has never been time blocked. I can say this with confidence because if it had been time blocked, it would not have been a hard thing unfinished. It would have been a hard thing completed. You want to move all your hard things not finished over to the right side of the hard things now completed list. Because within your hard, there are hard steps. So you want to take all of those things step by step and move them over to the completed list. Only then can you look at your progress and say, it got done because I did something about it. It got done because I did something about it. I think back to that day where I went to church last week. That was hard. Now, if I would have put that off, I could have put that off for years. However, then I would have been looking at going in, walking into that church, perhaps on the day that one of my nieces got married. Now that would have been super hard. So I chose to mark it off my list. I now know that I can do that hard thing. 5 minutes is a short block of time, and it starts with you working on the one thing you are avoiding. 80% of the hard work for doing hard things is always in the beginning. The resistance doesn't come from the task, my friends. It comes from thinking about doing the task. Stop thinking about it. Just do it, as Nike says. You build up resistance in your mind that diverts energy away from taking intentional action. Taking deliberate action now motivates and energizes you. It fills you with a sense of accomplishment. I've started this thing I was always afraid to do, and that gives you the sense of accomplishment. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking you to do is 5 minutes. You don't have to set any fancy alarms with your phone. Your mind knows what 5 minutes feels like. Sit down or stand up and do it. Write your intention down on paper. You can write it down 5 times, as we talked about, or as I talked about in a previous kind of TED Talk, as these have become. Protect your 5-minute time block. Protect it with every fiber of your being. And don't stop after 5 minutes if you want to keep going. The purpose is to get moving on your task, to build momentum, and ultimately to build confidence. To start the difficult thing, to break the resistance keeping you stuck that tells you it'll get done someday. The hard that you have been putting off for way too long. And then weeks or months later, you're still thinking about it. So choose now to break the cycle. If you're thinking about doing it and not doing it, it's not getting done. I train my mind every day to stop thinking about tasks. I must do, have to do, should do. I decide I'm going to do it. I block off 5 minutes and I do it. No complaining, no fear. I simply begin. The most difficult step in doing anything is always taking the first action. The first step can be the easiest to take if you decide what it is. Make this step intentional. Do it now. Because if not now, when? There is no more, I'll do it later. You have this day only. I'm here to tell you that tomorrow is never promised. Later is your mind putting off what can be done now. 5 minutes of your time is all that is necessary. So, my friends, decide what hard thing, what hard small task needs to be done. And get after it. Momentum is where it's at. And your momentum begins with those 5 minutes. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.